Hi, welcome to today's pick a card reading. I want to go ahead and say that this pick a card reading is really a pick a deck reading, okay? And deck number 1 is the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. It's this purple one. Deck number 2 is the Druidcraft Tarot, which is this brown one. And deck number 3 is the Psychic Tarot for the Heart Oracle deck. So while you're picking which deck you want to use, I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about this reading. So basically this reading is meant to just give you a little snapshot of what your person, the person that you're holding in your heart, okay, the person who you're in a relationship with, the person who you want to be in a relationship with, basically how they're feeling, how they're thinking, and what their desires are, and as it all pertains to you and the relationship they have with you, okay? I have this fourth deck here. This is supposed to be for clarifiers, okay? So I'm going to be using this for clarifying anything that I get for each one of these readings, all right? That said, I do want to remind you guys that everything you need to know about me is going to be in the description. My private reading information is there, as well as the information on, again, some of my viewers just, they get a hold of me and they ask me how they can donate to my channel and how they can help me out if there's anything I need and that kind of stuff. There are 2 ways to donate, and one of them is by PayPal, and then the other one is by the channel's Amazon wish list, and everything on that wish list is stuff that is going to be bought for the channel anyway, and so it's just, if you want to help out, that's the kind of supplies that I'm going to need anyway, so just kind of keep that in mind, you know, but by no means is that anything that I absolutely need or anything like that. I just provide that because people have asked for it, okay? Also, the timestamps for these, if I have not left the comment with the timestamps in it, the timestamps for each one of these decks is going to be in that description. But let's go ahead and get back to the question at hand, okay? What is this person's feelings? What are their thoughts? And what are their desires as we look at this relationship? And again, this is deck number 1, deck number 2, and deck number 3, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and start with deck number 1. If you still haven't picked which deck, then go ahead and pause the video, and when you're done picking, you can unpause it. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and start, okay? And we're going to go with deck number 1. Okay, those of you who picked deck number 1, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle this deck 3 times here for our clarifiers. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to shuffle it this way 3 times, all right? Okay. So that's done for our clarifiers. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same with this one. Alright, I like to do this on video so you can see me doing this. I don't do it in all of my videos, but I do it when I can. Alrighty, so this is how they're feeling, okay? This is what they're thinking, and this is their desires. Remember, this is general, okay? So what comes up here is going to be something that I can't get into much detail about, but I will try to get to as much detail as possible. So how they're feeling. Wow, okay. Okay, well, right now, they really feel like the 2 of you have something really, really strong that is kind of a little bit almost too good to be true. This is one of those things that's kind of like scary for them because it's so perfectly aligned, but they like it. They get a lot of energy out of that when they're feeling their feelings. They feel very excited, kind of like fireworks. One of my friends used to describe this is a childhood friend, so I'm talking like 5 years old. She would describe when her foot fell asleep, like having soda in her foot, like Coca-Cola in her foot. And I always imagined that as being this kind of like pow, 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 you know, that kind of feeling, the little bubbly feeling inside of yourself. That's the kind of feeling that I get like inside of my heart when I'm feeling this energy, okay? So it's like this really bubbly, excited, effervescent feeling because of this really strong spiritual union the two of you have, okay? They are also starting to feel very passionate. This is not something that they usually feel. It's not something that they feel a lot. This person might have a sexual libido that is kind of understated usually, and they're finding that it's kind of woken up. And if it's a person that's just like generally maybe they do have a strong sexual libido, maybe it's been dormant for a while because this is something that's like new and you know passion doesn't have to be sexual, but it feels very sexual for me as I'm looking at this. Okay, and then we've got partnership and alliances. They're trying to find something they can do with you that makes the two of you coming together be practical. Because they think that for whatever reason, for you, in order for you to want to be with them, it has to make sense. So he or she is trying to make some kind of partnership with you or some kind of friendship or some kind of maybe even business with you that is mutually beneficial and makes sense. Basically, they're trying to find a way to make excuses to talk to you, see you, interact with you more than they would otherwise, okay? So if they come to you with some kind of like, oh, let's join this group together, or oh, let's study this together, that kind of stuff, it's like what they're really trying to do is they're trying to just make sure that you stick around in their life, okay? But they just want to get something going so that you guys are consistently seeing each other, okay? They're also, for some of them, they are worried about any kind of conflict and they want to kind of like come together and they kind of feel like it's you against the world. Like the two of you have very different kinds of ways of looking at the world or looking at things. Maybe your personalities are very rare and you're two very unique people that are looking at the world in a different way. They feel empowered. They feel again that bubbly feeling when they're thinking about coming together with you and kind of facing the world together. Like the two of you are a force that can kind of take that on. So there's also some of that going on for some of you. So here's what they're thinking. Okay, they do see that there's some obstacles and challenges in your way, okay? They're not being overly idealistic in this situation. I think they might be prone to being a little bit negative sometimes, but this comes from their experiences. So part of it is like, it's almost like they're punishing you for things that you didn't do. But on the other hand, it's also applying that knowledge that they've acquired elsewhere. So please understand that with obstacles and challenges, it's not meaning that they're trying to create problems, but they are trying to be cautious. They're you know, I mentioned earlier that they want to make this make sense. They want it to be sensible. They're also trying to be sensible when they're thinking about any kind of obstacles and challenges between the two of you. And I feel like there is something that's sticking in the way of the two of you being together, like in the open, that kind of thing, or the two of you coming together in a really strong way at this moment, at least. We've got discontent and boredom. Notice that this figure is looking away. This figure isn't looking towards this. When I get this card, I always feel like this isn't about the person who's asking the question. This isn't about you guys as the viewers. This is about some other thing. They're feeling discontent and bored with something else in their life. If this is somebody who is in another relationship, they're discontent and bored with that. Or it could just be that their life has been very, like they've gone through a life where they haven't had a whole lot of positive experiences, and their feelings of discontent, their feelings of boredom with life have been changed since they met you. So just really kind of keep that in mind. Keep in mind that this is kind of something that's inside of them. This is kind of ingrained inside of them. And part of this relationship is going to be kind of changing those beliefs so that the thoughts are more rational. Let's put it that way. The thoughts are more positive, that kind of thing. And then when they're thinking, oh my gosh, they finally have hope. This is somebody who might describe themselves as depressed. This is somebody who might say, that they have experienced depression before. They have felt a little depressed sometimes, that kind of thing. You give them hope. This relationship gives them hope. And it's like a really, really new thing, okay? Because you've got obstacles and challenges, and you've got discontent and boredom. We've also got this whole thing going on here with some of you being very unique, kind of like feeling like almost an alien in this world, right? And this hope card comes up as like, oh wow, maybe I can do this. Maybe this really can be fun for me. This experience on the planet, this experience as a human can be meaningful and be something important. So when I'm talking about how they're thinking hopeful thoughts, it's not just about the relationship, it's also about this information coming here with kind of where their default state is in the relationship. So their thoughts are more automatic. They're obviously feeling about you a lot, okay? And sometimes when it comes up that there's not a whole lot of thoughts that orient around the viewer or orient around the person who's asking the questions, it might appear that they don't think about you. It's not that. They just feel about you a whole lot more than they think about you. So they still feel, they spend a whole lot of time with you in their heart and their mind. It's just that when they're thinking, their thoughts are more automatically like looking for the catch, looking for, well, how is this gonna get messed up, that kind of thing. Kind of reflecting a little bit more on the past and how things have been, and kind of comparing that to where things are now. Okay, so that's where their thoughts are. And their desires. Ooh, they see this as something new. And it's interesting because we've got passion ignited. This is like a new thing. It's igniting. And then we've got new beginnings here. So yeah, they feel like they want to take a risk with you. They feel very enticed. They feel they want to get this started. Their biggest desire is in starting this. They also feel like we've got suffering and silence here, and that can come from not expressing their feelings 100% because they don't feel like that's going to be either received or returned or received with positivity. There's something about this situation that they feel might not be appropriate. And because of that, they are feeling some pain, and they are feeling like maybe being less maybe aggressive. They're feeling like that might be the best way of handling things. But it's almost like that through that suffering, they learn how much they want this to happen. So it's like this is a good thing, even though like suffering and silence, ooh, that sounds so almost dramatic, right? It sounds so unnecessary and that kind of thing. However, it is teaching them something, okay? So it's like, well, why would they desire to do that? They desire it because part of our desires are going to be influenced by our morals, okay? Just think about the desire to be sexually intimate, okay? That is a desire. That's a huge desire in humans, okay? And once a person is partnered up with somebody in a committed relationship, even though they might have those desires for somebody else, they might not act on them, right? So our desires are very much can be dictated by our morals and stuff like that. So there's something that feels a little bit morally, either it's morally ambiguous, or there's something about it that's like doesn't quite. It's more, and the focus is more on you than them. They don't want you to think that. It's almost like they don't want you to see them in a bad light. So they're thinking that if they remain silent, they don't express their feelings, that maybe that might make you see them as a better person, that kind of thing. Gosh, it really feels like that's a big deal to them. They really want you to see them as a really important person who makes good decisions and that kind of thing. And then we've got the waiting game, which makes sense. And let me tell you why. It seems to me from all of this whole thing, especially with these obstacles and challenges, and with this kind of suffering and silence, it seems to me like this whole thing, like something needs to happen first before the two of you can come together. And even though the two of you are going to be talking and are going to be interacting in some way, it's like the two of you aren't going to really start until whatever it is happens, okay? It might be something like the person needs to move to your city, or you need to move to where they live. It could be something like they need to get out of a relationship, or you need to get out of a relationship. It might be something like they need to get to a point where they're satisfied in their job. Or it could be something like, well, they're waiting for their car to get fixed so that they can go see you, that kind of thing. I mean, it could be something very, very small, or it could be something that's kind of big. But right now they're waiting, but they're not just waiting and like, oh, well, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll not. They're not complacent about it. They're waiting because they're hopeful. They want this to happen, and they know that the timing has to be a certain way in order for you to take them seriously. And that's the biggest thing for them, is that they definitely want you to think that they're a positive person. There's some kind of guilt that's going on here, and it's because there's something that they're feeling when they're around you that kind of goes against what they traditionally feel. And it's not so much, it's like it's gonna come across, and it's gonna feel like guilt when they're expressing it to you, or when you see their behavior as a result of it. But it's not so much that as it is they feel like they made a mistake. They made a poor decision. It's like they didn't have all the information, and they made a decision. And now that they have all the information because they met you, it's like they would have made a completely different decision. So it's like there's a part of it that's guilt, and there's a part of it that's kind of like embarrassed. And so it's like they're trying to integrate this new information into their world and take their worldview and raise it up a little bit. And I really hope that makes sense, because it's kind of a little bit confusing for me, because as I'm saying this, I know that it's right because I'm being led to say it, but I don't really know what it means. So hopefully you guys do, all right? But the bottom line is, if you're waiting for them to do something, it will come. And this definitely is something that is very strong, something they want, okay? So if you're wondering if they want it or not, they do. Do they think about you? Yes. They also are they can be negative. And that, I think that's kind of human nature sometimes, especially when we face something that's really, really great. It can seem like it's almost like the person is out of balance if they don't look at the possible negative stuff that could go wrong. You know, they want to ensure that they are holding on to this, that kind of thing. And they definitely want to start this, okay? That's the bottom line, is they want to start this, but they also know that there's some kind of timing. There's something that needs to happen first before they're able to. All right, so you guys, I would say sit tight. This one's worth waiting for, definitely. All right, guys? Okay, so those of you who picked deck number 2. This is a Druidcraft tarot, and I know that I mentioned the Tarot of Pagan Cats a lot. This is actually my favorite deck. It's one I don't use very often on this channel. It is kind of beat up, but that's because I've been using it for at least 8 years, if not more. So we're gonna go ahead and shuffle this 3 times. Oh well, that's not gonna work. All right. Alrighty, just showing this on the video so you know that I haven't rigged anything or anything. I like doing this, but it can take so much time that I don't do it in all of my videos. Alright, and then shuffle this way 3 times. That'll count as 1, 2, 3. Alright. And then we're going to do the same with this deck. This deck is going to be used for clarification if we need any clarifying cards, okay? Okay. Alrighty, so this is going to be how they feel about you. This is going to be what they think about you. And this is going to be their desires about you and the relationship, okay? Alright, so let's look at how they feel. Ooh, Ace of Cups. They definitely want to start something. They definitely want to start something new. They've got the Seven of Swords, so they're up late thinking about you. I understand that this is a feeling card, but for them, when they're thinking really hard about something, when they've got something stuck in their head and they just keep going around and around in circles with that and all of that kind of stuff, it's almost like they're kind of obsessing about you. That to them indicates that they have strong feelings, okay? So that's why this is coming up in the feeling pile. The Ace of Cups, I just have to go back to this. This is like, oh, this is new emotions. They've never felt like this before about anybody. This is something that's different. It's something that is almost overwhelming, but it's also something that they want to manage. They want to, and it's like a struggle though, because they're trying to make it make sense, and you can't really make sense out of emotions, you know, because that's what they're emotions. They're not meant to make sense. They're meant to be felt, you know. But you know, we still try to make sense out of our emotions. They're basically trying to figure you out. They feel like you're an enigma. In some ways, which is actually a positive thing, because they like the challenge. And then we've got the Eight of Cups, which is kind of interesting. I feel like for part of you guys, this is just going to indicate that the two of you haven't been talking lately. For some of you, this is going to indicate that one or both of you are a little more introverted than most people. And then for some of you, it's actually going to be that there's been some kind of separation, or there's some kind of separation in the now that is causing the true nature of this relationship to be hidden. And I say that because we've got the moon here, all right? And in these cards, we've got this person, they're alone, and they're trying to figure things out, and they've got these emotions, and it's like they kind of have to take a step back to be like, okay, what am I going to do with this? So it's almost like they have to, in order for them to know exactly how they feel and exactly what they're thinking about you, and feel almost like less overwhelmed, they have to retreat so that they can kind of come to terms with that, so that then they can come forward. Now, the Eight of Cups in most decks is really just flat out depicts leaving something behind, okay? With the Eight of Cups in this deck, what really strikes me is that the figure in this deck is prepared to travel, okay? This person has a destination in mind, but they're prepared to travel both to there and back. And the way that they've left these, it's almost like they're waiting for the answers to come to them. I've always interpreted this card this way when I read with this deck, and it's always proven accurate to me. So this person is, if it's the other person, they are going to come back. If it's you, it would be a good idea to come back, because there is still something going on in this situation. But I think that I'd even say the majority of the viewers, this is really just indicating that the two of you both have a period where you have to retreat to kind of like, you know, take deep breaths and like deal with the fact that, wow, this is really intense, that kind of thing. So emotionally, it's kind of like this trying to figure things out on their own kind of thing. But they definitely have strong emotions, and the fact that you're just always in their mind also lets them know that they have really strong emotions. And for some people, they need to have that kind of experience in order to let them know that they have emotions, because maybe they're not as in touch with their emotions as they usually are. Or sometimes really, really strong emotions can kind of kick that person up into their thoughts. So that's what's going on there, okay? So this is what they're thinking, how they're thinking about, okay, wow, they really feel like this is something that, they feel like this is something that's really right. They recognize that this is a really good thing for them. It's almost like they don't know like what they've done to deserve this, you know, in a positive way. Like how have I ever attracted this to me? The Two of Swords, it can indicate a choice. I don't feel like that's what it is for this spread right now. I feel like the Two of Swords, you've got the girl with the swords crossed in front of her like this, right? Or like this here. It's like guarding their heart, okay? It's like I've said before, they have not felt this. They just haven't felt like this. You know, this is new. This is a new feeling. They've never felt this way about somebody before. And they're trying to guard their heart. They're trying to not let on that they feel as much as they do. And that can be so frustrating, especially when you've got signs that, you know, oh man, this person really, really cares about me. And then you've got this other thing like, okay, but they're not really telling me how they feel and that kind of thing. And then you've got the Knight of Wands, which is like, you know, they've got their defenses up here. You know, they're not necessarily feeling defensive, but they've got their guard up, okay? So this is somebody who definitely doesn't want to give too much away. And so they're conscious of trying to kind of remain, like, it's almost like they don't want to seem crazy because of how strongly they feel about you. They definitely feel really strongly about you, and you are definitely in their thoughts. Yeah, definitely. I feel really moved to tell you guys a story from my personal life. And I'm just thinking, oh my goodness, this person's probably going to watch this video and see this, and they're going to ask me about it. So, oh my goodness, this person, if you happen to know who you are, I can explain. So there's this person in my life, a very, very strong friend. And this person's constantly kind of leaking out this information to me that they care about me more than, let's say, that they say they do. And then this is the kind of person that isn't really very, they don't really demonstrate their emotions very much. They don't really say, you know what, I really care about you, or I'm glad that I met you, or you know, you're my best friend. You know, they're not the kind of person to say that. Or if we were in the kind of relationship that was romantic, they wouldn't be the kind of person that would just be like, oh gosh, I love you. You know, they wouldn't say that all the time, right? But they let out these little like hints that they think about me, and they a lot more than they do. And this is the reason why I'm relaying this story is because this it reminds me of the person that you guys are asking about, the person that you have in your heart. And you can look for things like this with them as well. So as you guys know, I recently went to a different country. And it's funny because me and this person actually already live in two separate countries anyway. And so he and I, you know, we have to like talk when both of us are awake, right? So we don't get a whole lot of time to talk to each other. And so when I went to Ireland, he like had an even harder time keeping up with the time thing, you know. And I'd always thought, you know, I wonder how often he checks the time zones when he talks to me, because I'm constantly checking them. Okay, like I feel kind of crazy for doing it, but sometimes I'll just constantly check them, like, ooh, I want to ask this guy a question about something, you know, is he awake? And it'll be like 5 a.m. there, and I'll be like, gotta wait another hour or two. Anyway, he sent me a message, and he was like, you know, I hope that you're doing okay. I haven't checked the time zones yet, so I don't know what time it is there. And it's like, he never once said, I check the time zones all the time when I'm around you, or when I think about you, or when I interact with you, or whatever. He just kind of let it slip that he hadn't checked them yet at that point. And it let me know, oh yeah, he checks the time zones all the time. It's like stuff like that will leak out sometimes. And it's like, I know he cares about me, you know? And this is a relationship where it's totally appropriate. You know, he's one of my best friends. And it's not like it's not like it's embarrassing that he cares about me or anything. It shouldn't be. But just he will let it slip in ways like that to let me know that he's been thinking about me, or he does go a little bit further with his behavior to see how I am and what's going on in my world, than just showing up whenever, you know. So it's kind of like that when I'm thinking about this person, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. So their desires. Ooh, wow. Their desires are just to tell you how they feel. We've got the Princess of Cups, which would be the Page of Cups, okay? But the Princess of Cups, it's a little bit more mature energy in this particular deck, okay? We've got the Princess of Cups, and then we've got a matching pair. We've got the Prince of Cups, okay? And this would be the Knight. They want to offer you their feelings. So the moon is starting to... you know, the daylight's coming out and the moon's kind of being revealed that, yes, I do have these really, really strong feelings and I want to tell them to you. So this person really wants to tell you their feelings. It's almost like that they feel like the timing has to be at the right place to be able to express that to you, though. And I think that that's kind of interesting because there was a timing issue in the first reading as well. So timing might be really sensitive just in general right now. But for them, it's like, oh gosh, they just like look at this person. They're just savoring those feelings. And then you've got the prince. It's like offering them to you. And I have to point out every single time I get a matching pair, like a queen and a king of the same suit, prince or princess, I've got to mention, you know, when I get a matching pair, it's always really fortuitous. It's always really positive for relationships. So their desire, you know, usually we would say, you know, the desire is more maybe passionate or sexual or, you know, that kind of thing. Their desire is actually referencing their emotions. Their desire is to express that to you. And then we've got the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is an interesting card because sometimes it can indicate travel. Sometimes it can indicate going away. The Six of Swords in this deck, though, if you'll see it, in most decks, it will show the boat going the opposite direction, away from the picture as you're looking at it, okay? And the boat will be going into the distance, like it's leaving the card. In this, it's coming into the card, it's coming into the foreground. So in this, the Six of Swords is coming at you like their desire is to come forward towards you. Once their thoughts are all lined up, because the Six of Swords there is a balancing there, and there is a stability there with the sixes, and there's also the sixes refer to relationships. The Lover card is number 6 in the Major Arcana. That's where that comes from. So the Six of Swords in this particular deck is about coming together by moving towards you. So we've got 3 cards that are all saying the same thing. The Princess of Cups wants to offer her feelings. The Prince of Cups wants to offer his feelings. The Six of Swords is, I want to come towards you with this. This person is going to pursue you. They are going to come after you, okay? You do not have to do anything in this situation in order for them to pursue you. In fact, it actually might seem a little bit weird because maybe you feel like you're the one that kind of has to hold up the relationship right now, especially given how guarded they are and how much time they might spend by themselves, right? But as they're coming towards you, they want to come towards you because all of this stuff is going to start making sense for them, and they're going to be able to get to that point where they know what they want, they know what they feel, and all of that kind of stuff, and they won't be so guarded, they won't be so defensive, and their desire is to break down those walls and come towards you. Alrighty? Alright, so yeah, I mean, this person definitely feels very strongly for you. The key word I would use is so new. It's just something they've never experienced before, and that can be overwhelming sometimes. But ultimately, they are going to come forward towards you because that's their biggest heart's desire right now with you. All right? All right. Hi, Group 3. I'm going to go ahead and take some time to shuffle these decks on screen. I prefer to do this in my readings, but I don't do it in all of them because of time. Okay. So I'm going to shuffle it 3 times this way as well. Alright, so that's decks ready. We're going to shuffle our clarifying cards too. Same way. All right, so we've got our clarifying cards ready in case we need clarity, and we've got these cards ready. So we're going to be looking at how they feel about you in the relationship, what they think about you in the relationship, and what their desires are for you and the relationship, okay? Right, so looking at their feelings, they want you to open up more. They feel like, even though you might be like, what? I've been telling them how I feel, or I'm the open one, right? They sometimes you'll try to overcompensate. It's like you don't want to come across too strongly, that kind of thing. They want you to open up a little bit more and be yourself. They want you to know that it's okay for you to be yourself in this situation. That's what they like. That's what they see. So what they're feeling is a little bit of confusion about where you stand. And I mean, it's almost like I can hear you guys saying, "But what? No, they should know." Sometimes we'll tell somebody like, hey, I really, really like you. And then we'll just kind of step back. We'll be like, okay, well, crap, I told them, and now they're not saying anything, and they're not doing anything. Well, I'm just not going to talk to them for 3 or 4 days and see what happens. What we don't realize is that sending mixed signals. Even though it's like, but I said that I liked them. It's like they just want you to, for them, they want it to be more like that you like them, and then you follow that up by smiling at them a lot, wanting to be around them a lot, talking to them, and that kind of thing. Okay, they're feeling abundance with you. They feel like they can really make a lot of things happen in a situation. They also feel like this might be something, and this is just for some of you guys. They're also kind of feeling like this might be something that could be a good relationship when it comes to work. Like the two of you guys might be able to work together, and that could be literal work, like a job, or it could be like just the two of you work well together. You guys have complementary personalities, that kind of thing. And then you've really got their attention. Excuse me, I took a drink and I didn't think it was going to take that long. Okay, they really, I mean, because you've really caught their attention, and it was like their life was going along in one direction, and you came up and they're like, wow, okay, maybe I need to reevaluate where my life is going, right? And it's like emotionally they know that that's what they need to do. Intellectually that might be a few steps behind, or maybe a few steps forward. Like maybe they already knew that they needed to do that, but you've given that reason for them, okay? But basically, you've kind of, in a way, thrown them off course, but they were already on a course that they didn't really want to be on to begin with. So this is a very positive thing for them, okay? The major thing I can say is just when you are talking to them and interacting with them, just know, excuse me, just know that they want you to be consistent, all right? Okay. So, in their thoughts, okay, I feel like this is a spiritual connection. They're thinking this is something spiritual. You guys might have some kind of common religion. They're also thinking that you're a very spiritual person. This is a very strongly spiritual connection between the two of you. They're also thinking, hey, I've got to step this up. I've got to take the lead in this situation. I've got to do something. I've got to. They recognize that they need to take initiative in this. They just haven't done that yet, and I believe that the reason they haven't done this yet is that they need to come out of their. They have to come out of. We were talking about how they had to change course. They need to kind of break free from that old way of being. And breaking free from that old way of being isn't just changing your focus emotionally, but it's also changing the way that you think about the world and that kind of thing. So with the healing, they also really need to make sure that they're prepared intellectually to handle this situation with you, because they do see how important it is, and they see how, I kind of feel like this might be a silly word to use, because it's almost like too lovey-dovey, but it's like they see that this is a spiritual connection from, this is kind of like a connection from heaven for them with you. So they're recognizing this is a really important thing, and they want to be able to do it right. All right, so looking at their desires in the situation, this is what they want. They want love. You've got the Lovers. That's good. They also want to have that space to be able to connect with. It's almost like this whole thing has been. We've got this Seek card, number 9. This would be the Hermit. It's been renamed in this particular deck. They want the space to be able to reflect on this situation so they can fully grasp it. Because this is such a strong spiritual connection, and because they're having to change so many things in their lives in order to align with this, they feel like they really need to go within and kind of balance themselves out, okay? So when they're doing that, when they're being quieter than you would like them to be, when they're seeking to be more alone, that kind of thing, what they're doing is they're actually still working on the relationship. They're thinking about you, they're feeling about you, they're feeling it out, they're trying to figure it out, and that is where that vision comes from. Their desire is to make their vision, we've got the third eye chakra, to make their vision a reality. So their desire is this ultimate union with you. And I really wouldn't be surprised for most of you if that ultimate desire isn't to be married or to be in a committed relationship with you, basically for life. They want to be with you. That's very, very strong. And to get the Lovers card in this particular position and the desire, it's like they want this to come about. So it's a very, very positive thing. And one thing that really strikes me about this particular reading for you guys that picked the third deck is that this is a very mature person. This is a very mature, like kind of no nonsense situation between the two of you. Okay, they just, it's like, and I'm not prone to using a whole lot of cussing words, so please, understand that that's just my style. But they like kind of want no BS with you, right? They want this to be just straight up be yourself. They know that they've got to change some things. They know they've got to take the lead. They're willing to take some responsibility in this relationship. So this is a very mature person that understands not only that for a relationship to work, do you guys have to come together, but you also have to be your own people. And this also is a person who really respects the nature of the world, the patterns of the world, whether that comes through as being a very devout person in some kind of established religion, or whether or not that comes about as being somebody who's more of just a kind of spiritual person that has a good sense of what's right and wrong, or very strong with it, somebody with a strong moral character. This person's a very, like I said, they're just kind of on all levels, and they're the kind of person, I can't say this enough, they're the kind of person that you can rely on. So they're going to be coming forward if they haven't already. They're going to be coming forward. They know they need to step it up. They know they need to be the one that leads in the situation. Regardless of the gender of the person you're asking about, this is going to be the person that's going to have the more masculine energy, the person who's going to be coming forward more, the person that's going to be pursuing more, the person that's going to be wanting to initiate more and that kind of thing. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. And overall, the only advice I can give to you is just really, really remember being yourself is the key in this, because that's what they're attracted to. That's what they want. They want you. They don't want some kind of version of you that you think might be better. They want you. And I think most of you guys know that anyway. But it does help to repeat it for those of you that just really might need to hear it again. You guys have a keeper. That's what I would say. So you guys are good. This is a great snapshot of where you guys are. As always, thank you so much for sticking to the end of my video. You might have noticed this ring that I have. I got this in Ireland. It's just a mood ring. My daughter wasn't in the best of moods one of the days we were there, and I got one for her and I got one for myself. As I've been doing this video, I've been noticing I've been envious. I've also been a little bit worried, and I've also been in love. So if you guys want to know what my secret feelings and thoughts are, just look at the ring, apparently. But yeah, I really appreciate all the feedback. I love you guys so much. I love interacting with you. I'm so glad that I'm back and I'm able to make videos in a timely manner. And those of you who are still waiting on a reading, just know that I am on track to get those out to you as soon as possible. And again, thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.